Welcome, everyone, to the Customer Success Playbook Podcast. Well, we're not doing a podcast today, Kev. I said podcast, but we're doing our first product review. I'm super excited about this. We're partnering with Funnel Story. Funnel Story is a great new solution. They have a new release, product release that just came out. So we're partnering with their team to kind of walk through their free trial and kind of show the inside of that product for those interested. Kev, you've already spent some time on this. I know you're excited for us to get started here.
Yeah, I am. It's a very, very cool product. The founder, Alok, is shown me some of the demos over time, and it's really neat to get into. And it's a product geared for customer success. It's such an easy setup, and I'm excited to get started with you to kind of walk through the initial setup of this.
Yeah, I'm nervous about this, Kev. I'm not a tech guy. I know you have a tech background. So you're telling me it's easy, and so we're going to prove it today. I've not gone through this yet. Okay, so you're telling me all I have to do is hit the start free trial, right?
Yep.
All right, so it wants a 6-digit code. Let me pull that in. All right.
Yeah, and it's, you already.
Okay, I'm in. Okay, got a code. It came right in here.
Yep, and you put in an email address before that it sent the code to, and so
that's right.
I just asked for the code verification.
I'm hitting next, Kev. I'm letting you guide me here.
Yeah, go ahead and hit next. What it's showing you here is just all the various integrations that they've got, and they've got a ton of them.
Nice. Okay, a little walkthrough here. So I got my little introduction, but I have you as my introduction. My role, I'm going to go with Chief Experience Officer for today. Go next, customer success.
Yeah.
Next. Ooh, I have all these different apps here. Integrations. Look at all this. Zendesk, Slack.
Salesforce, Microsoft SQL Server, HubSpot.
Oh, so Gainsight. There we go. All right. So I'm not going to click on anything here, Kev, right?
Doesn't matter whether you do or you don't. Yeah, you don't need to.
Okay.
Complete the questionnaire. Now, I think if you were setting this up for a real product, you might want to click on some of the stuff, but just going to, it kind of plays into this screen if you were really doing your setup, right?
So I would click this if I'm actually doing it. So I want to use some sample data, I'm assuming, right? We're gonna do some.
So they have sample data in here, which makes it even easier. And it'll start importing all of the sample data. Now, I do want to say on the previous screen where you had all your connections, one of the things that the way that you would connect to existing accounts is you probably want an account created. Let's say you were connecting to Snowflake in Snowflake specifically for Funnel Story, so that you could give it specific permissions as to what data it can access, what data it can't. But then when you clicked on the connects on that previous screen, it would basically allow you to, or basically connect and then bring you to this screen with all of the imports of what you want to connect from Funnel Story. Just go through, click on select on everything, and let's just bring it all in. That's
bring it all in.
Yeah.
So in 7 selected, I want issues. I want my projects coming in, any pull requests. This is all right, Kev. I'm off to a good start here, man. I'm hitting all the selects. Right. I want conversations brought in. That's neat. You can bring in conversations. Bringing in user model. I'm not going to stop, Kev. I'm on a rule here with hitting select, so I'm going to keep going. And I like it shows you the format. That makes it easy.
Yep.
All right. So I'm going to activate these models now.
And we'll activate the models.
Okay. Now this is going to take 6 to 8 minutes. It looks like.
This does take a little bit of time, and honestly, while it takes the time doing that, maybe we'll flip over to my screen for a minute and to show some of the things that come in.
Okay.
It's pretty interesting because what it's doing right now, right, it's starting to process the data. And it'll process the data and get to a point where it actually gives you the opportunity to go back into go into the application and start looking at the application before it's processed all that. Oh, look at how, it happened while I'm talking. You're already in the application. There's information that's happening. So if you click on the customer journey, I wonder if it's already processed. Yeah, it's starting to build it out. It already brought in
some accounts already.
It brought some stuff in already. It's starting to build it out. It's going to keep processing and building that out as it brings in all the data.
Okay.
And let's switch over to, yeah, why don't you stop sharing? Let me share.
Yeah, it will. Fast though,
And
Kev. I like how quick it is, man. I just literally like you click buttons and it's already starting to pull that journey. I'm excited
yeah,
to see what you have because again, you've let the data load on yours already. So,
yeah, we'll
oh
start with the
wow.
journey. So you'll see basically this is also with the same test data. I think I went hog wild on selecting all the tables. So I'm guessing your customer journey ultimately is going to look very much like this one because it's pulling in the same, the same test data. But it's really, really incredible. This is all automatically created. So you saw the screen as it looked like from you a minute ago, and now we're looking and we've got all of the data that it's processed from when I set this up, and it's finished processing the data, and you can see what the customer journey looks like. And you get your created account, then they've got this retention zone. These are the things that are important things that a customer is doing. And if the customer is doing these things, the tool is saying, hey, if they're doing these things, then the customer is being retained. And one of the interesting things is I talked to a VP of a customer who's doing a proof of concept with this. They've gone through the process of defining their customer journey prior to implementing this. They found that the tool did a good job of representing their true customer journey the way they've defined it. So not only did it validate their existing customer journey, but if you were implementing this new and for some reason you hadn't created a customer journey already, but you had your CRM data and maybe a gain site or something like that, and you pulled it all in.
Yeah.
If you have gain site, I'm assuming you've defined your customer journey. But if for some reason you hadn't, and you're pulling all the data in from across your various instances of issues and
So Kev,
projects and all that, it'll create a customer journey for you. Yeah.
so Kev, I just want to make sure I'm clear on this. So you're saying that even if I have no customer journey defined, that this is pulling in Funnel Stories, pulling in all this data across all these different systems, and it's creating what you're showing here, which is the actual customer journey. And I know you've been talking to people that are using the tool, right? And they're saying that all the work that they did to define their customer journey, and I'm sure that took a while, right? But this tool basically has validated that within almost instantaneous, right? Like it's taking all
Minutes.
that data. Wow, that's super impressive.
It does assume, right? There's some assumptions you got to make, right? You're assuming that you're pulling in you're able to connect all of your data sources that
Yeah.
have the information that can create this. But based off of the data sources that you pull in, it's creating a customer journey based off of what you've done.
It actually shows like 2 months is the median journey time. So it's even calling out, it has your best accounts, best segments. So you can even drill in even deeper on here on your journey. I love this. What else can you show me here? I'm impressed already.
Yeah, so let's just take a look over at this corner for a little bit. Just calling it the
Yeah.
AI summary, but it's all right. How many accounts do you have? There's 209 accounts, 11 active occurrences, 82,000 events that is being analyzed. And then down here, the retention zone. This is what I found really interesting. You can start clicking on these for retention activities performed the most. So you can see you've got issue 78 items, pull requests 66 items. So these are things that are in the retention area and things that are happening. The slowest activity paths to complete. So from time you create user in your tool to repository start, it is 2 days. Is that something you can put training around to increase time to starting the first repository? Is there, I mean, you're identifying
That speed
areas
to
in your
value stuff,
process.
right?
Yep.
Yeah, like speed to value. What do you need to do to kind of shorten it up?
Yep. So, again, this is all test data. If you're looking at real data, you're going to find where the issues in your process are that maybe you can start attacking. So, best accounts, it identifies your best accounts. I'm going to click on one of these just so we can go from the best accounts into the accounts tab and start looking at what it shows in the accounts. And I'll just show quickly on the side here. You've got your accounts, your journey. There's other view stuff, journey funnels. One of the things I want to go back to is the journey funnel for you to show how easy it is to create. But let's go ahead and click on one of the accounts and talk about what some of the information is that it shows you from accounts. So, and I picked one randomly, so it's pulling up the account view, and it does some dynamic creation in the view as you're looking at it. It's got shows the retention on January 26th. Some of these numbers, again, we're looking at test data. This does populate data against accounts, but it's still able to give you some interesting information. So the customer account retention or churn prediction indicates neutral confidence level with unclear outcomes. They've got a score of 50.
Do me a favor. I hate to jump ahead, but I'm really interested on the left-hand side. And see that ASHT group that has that 16 in red? I wonder what you've already got me curious on that accounts pane with I can see all the accounts. Do you mind clicking on that, Kev? Sorry, man. I want to see one that has some churn risk.
Yeah, 16 medium chance of churn.
So it actually says they're experiencing several shifts that might explain the churn confidence prediction. Okay.
Yeah, so this is where it gets cool. You got the symptoms. You can see there's a decrease in CI/CD runs, negative sentiment and support tickets and conversation, reduction in total activities, activity engagement drop, recent low activity from specific users. And then you've got your task recommendations. This is cool, right? They are making some recommendations based off of what they see happening, of things you can do and actions you can take. And you can create a task, describes what the task should be already based off of what they're recommending. You can assign it to the user that we've got in here as a customer success user.
Yeah.
It's for the ASHT group. You've got a due date. If you want it to expire at a certain point, you can have it expire. And then you save changes, and now the task was added, and there is somewhere in here where I can find my task right here. And I've added several tasks over time of things I wanted to follow up on.
I like that view. I love that symptoms thing, right? Like, it's like, what is actually happening? Accounts. Why is this at risk? Like, that's one thing I've seen from other solutions in the past, Kev. It'll say like, hey, this is at risk, but double clicking into the why, it's difficult. And it seemed like, at least, from what we have in here, it's actually pointing you to actual behaviors that driving that health score, which in this case is a chance of losing revenue.
Yeah, and it's pulling it out of the data. It's doing an analysis of the data and making decisions based off of that. So I think it's really quite interesting in what it has the capabilities of doing.
Hey, Kev, I see there's a little tab there called needle movers.
Yeah, this is really cool. When you click on needle movers, this is about how you're going to basically reduce your change your churn, right? What are the things that you can do, what's happening in the account, and what's it tracking? It's going to give you the key issues, interest in GitLab due to its user interface, competitive pricing, and appealing features. Mentioned Gallic on the 20. So it's tracking your conversations, right? Because that's information that you pulled in here. And so it feature requests. What feature requests? It tells you what new things that customers are asking for. Personnel changes. So as you're tracking what's happening in the application, you can see planned removal of user due to organizational departure. You now have insights into what's happening in the organization and the ability to actually really go in and look and see what's happening and know what the needle movers are. How are you going to reduce the likelihood of churn in this customer?
Oh, that's neat. I like the needle movers, Kev. So what is up top, Kev? I see these 209 accounts. Where's that coming from?
So I was saying how easy it is to create
the funnel story. Okay, so you're going to tell me the funnel story here.
So I think this is really one of the neat aspects of this. So right now, your funnel goes from acquisition to activation to realized value to growth to purchase intent. And you can basically, these are the accounts that fall into each of those categories. So what does that mean? I'm going to go. First, I want to show that if you click on any of these, it'll filter based off of the accounts that are in there. You can see this is your acquisition aspect of your funnel. If something's stuck in there, what's stuck in there. So it makes some assessments based off of that. Can add a new automated funnel. So it's going to create the same funnel. It automatically created for me already, which is the initial funnel. But all you do is you click on the new automated funnel and it'll create some assumptions, but what falls into each of the stages, and then what are the activities that happen in those stages. And then if you don't like how the activity is set up, you can change it. I don't know, I can change it to account information, change from, count is less than 1, and I can change that condition and make that my condition, right? So, and then I can say that these are the conditions I want to look at and how I'm going to classify my accounts into. It's in an acquisition phase, it's in an activation phase, it's in a realization phase, and now we're in the growth phase and we're seeing these activities happen, and it'll automatically classify your accounts for you. It builds that automatically, but it saves a ton of time and makes it really fast.
Yeah. So you're not, if I'm, again, keep me honest here, but like this just happened automatically. You're massaging the funnel. You didn't have to kind of build it from scratch, right? Well, you just click that button. That was what happened the first time you did it, Kev. It just used the data and it built the funnel. And then you went in and you just said, hey, I want to move this here, change this requirement. And that was as simple as that.
It's as simple as that. It was really,
that's cool.
It's very cool how it identifies. Now, again, this is how it predicted with the data that's in here. When you're using your real data, obviously it's but it is making assumptions and trying to do the predictions, and it's using artificial intelligence to do that. They've built agents around how they're doing it, and they're using machine learning to look at the data and try and make those determinations. And it's pretty impressive, to be honest.
I like it. I like it a lot. So you had mentioned, I think earlier, there's some activity charts you can take a look at in here as well, like in terms of some data. Is that in the other views maybe?
Yeah. So other views, you've got the activity charts, and you can see what's been happening for account creation.
You got 7 days. You're at 7 days. So I guess you can go back for.
It's got 365 days, and you can see that's
cool.
Over time when accounts were being created, how many. It looks like and you can see your CI runs, and you can see, so it is neat because you can see the growth. It's gonna predict it based off of real data that you're feeding it. In this tool, obviously we build repositories, so we're building repositories. That's an indicator of churn, and the model tool that we're showing. You can see what's happening with issues across customers. So, very cool in that it gives you a good high-level overview of what's happening in the tool and what your real data is.
So you had something, Kev, when we first came on. You were on a page with Felix. Who's Felix? What's Felix? Who is this guy? What are we doing with Felix here?
Yeah. So. Ask Felix. This is like the new universal AI symbol, I guess.
He's like,
the little stars. So Felix is their experimental AI, or generative AI, and they've got some suggested questions in here. Give me a summary for an account. What can you do? Give me a summary of an account created recently as a table of accounts created recently as a table. So I'm going to click on that one.
Yeah, so it's like if I can use like ChatGPT, I can basically use Felix, right? It looks very similar, very like it's giving me some prompts. I'm sure you could probably tweak those prompts for your end user to kind of help guide them, and then.
I'm sure that's the case. I would assume that's probably the case. I didn't do that. You and I were playing with this before, and I was thinking, I wonder whether I could get it to build me like a monthly operations report. And so we asked it to do it. I'm going to demo that now. Build a monthly ops report. And I didn't give it any more detailed of a request. Well, this is interesting because I didn't give it a company. To build a monthly
Well,
operation
it gives you, it tells you prompts. It comes right back with what it needs, which I like.
So let's ask for a monthly ops report for Roper Technologies.
Yeah. And I guess you could just say for all of those common elements or for the.
Please provide as much detail as you can. I'm just interested to see what it gives us. All right, let's see how it goes. I can't remember exactly.
I like trying things for the first time in a live recording. So we'll see how this goes on.
I'm interested to see whether this is going to be similar or different.
Oh, look at that.
Technologies highlights the following in the account.
And no feature requests, support tickets in the last 30 days. 9 total user.
Yeah. So, I mean, and then I think, let's see, well, then you can view the account details and it brings you directly
Just get
over.
right in there and then probably go right to that account view and dig right in.
Yeah. And let me see if I have, because it's interesting. Yeah. With generative AI, you get different answers each time. So I feel like the first time I did this with Felix, let's see, here it is. Okay. So I was looking at the best account and I asked to give it a monthly ops report for the account without as much detail, obviously. But it pulled back not just that kind of chart of the account overview here, but it also provided activities that were going on the account and then gave the summary as well.
Yeah, Kev.
I think that's pretty cool.
It is really cool. Setup took no time. Like literally a tech idiot like me was able to set it up. I hit the free trial. I put in a work email. Now for my scenario, I was using fake data, but we showed all of the different integrations that were out of the box. Like you name it was pretty much there, right? It showed the data mapping as we were importing it. Now I went through it quickly and selected everything, right? But that was talking minutes, right? Like it was minutes. Like the biggest time it took was waiting for the data to aggregate, right? Which is going to take some time, but again, the actual getting the data in the file formats, again, literally minutes. Then you said right away, go ahead.
So, and again, on that, if you're selecting from accounts out, like you're integrating different tools, you're going to have to put in your account data for each of the tools and all that, but that's specific. And it's just, it really is interesting. It's as easy as putting in your account ID, the specifics of the account ID integration stuff that would be necessary to integrate it in any tool. But it's not a lot of detail. It's user ID and password effectively.
Yeah, and what I like too is I like that when it showed the data. Like that's one of the biggest things I think with these aggregate tools is like getting the data to align and work. And I like that you could see the data structure. It had the mapping there, right? Again, I like that. So you come in here, it created your customer journey, right? So it's using all of these data sources. And from what you've heard of people that have the solution, it actually builds a very, very realistic and customer journey, right? You don't need to predefine it, which I think that is key, right? So even if you don't have a customer journey, it's going to build out what that journey is based off actual customer data, which I love, right? It's not anecdotal. It's not us guessing. It's not sticky notes. It's an actual customer journey based off what's happening within those accounts, right?
Yeah, I mean, it makes itself, right? And then you probably want to adjust it, but at least it's there. It's suggested. It's got some good ideas. It's not trying to think through every single detail. It's really proactive. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, then you go into the accounts. I have all my accounts in there. You showed a little bit. I can see, their health score. It's showing me the one we had churn risk. It was actually showing the symptoms. It was recommending actions. I think it was like, click, I can assign a task out. Hey, we got to do a survey. Hey, we need to do some analysis. Super easy. You can track that in the tool, assign it out in the tool. I love that. In your funnel, I think as well, you could show within each of the different stages what was happening, where accounts were stalling, right? Like it showed the revenue. Kev, anything else we did? So again, just in a couple of minutes, we were able to produce a monthly health ops report, which was awesome. Got to look at the top 5 accounts that just got signed up. And again, that was with 2 minutes of just typing in some stuff, some prompts in, right? So I'm sure there's a ton more you can do with Felix in the solution as well. So
yeah,
Kev, what else? What other thoughts you have, man? I love the simplicity and I love the amount of detail and data you can get across all of these disparate systems.
Yeah, no, me too. I think it's really a great implementation of something that's looking across your enterprise, looking at the data, from a perspective of this is what's happening. And it's a tool that's built on the ideas of customer success. It looks at how to drive customer success and really does give a lot of feedback. The person who's doing the proof of concept mentioned to me that their CSMs really liked the symptoms and they were able to take action on that and do a lot of that kind of work. And they're finding a lot of use out of it. Ultimately,
yeah, I was curious. I'm wondering if this will be a replacement for other CS sort of solutions in the marketplace, right? I wonder if you could. I don't want to call any out in case we do another product review, but for customer success focused solutions, I wonder if you just look at Funnel Story maybe as a rip and replace, because it looks like it can do a lot of the functionality plus what it can do with the data. It looks really encouraging.
It's impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm sure it'll continue to grow and they'll continue to get more and more functionality in here. So it's really, really quite an impressive tool.
So a couple things here. If you're watching this or if you're listening to our podcast, and I'll get to what we're going to do on the podcast with this, but go to funnelstory.ai. Literally, there's a free trial button right in the top. There's a contact us. Try it out. Like literally, like don't take our word for it. Go in and do it yourself. It's that easy. Connect with Funnel Story. Make sure you check it out if you have questions. Kev, we're actually gonna do a couple of podcasts, right? So our new format this year is we have the number one tip, the one big question, and then the impact of AI. We're going to do it for Funnel Story. We're going to do our number one tip for the solution. I love kind of going through it, and I know you spend some time in it, so we'll both give our number one tips on it. We're going to get some actual customers on the show, right? We're going to actually have some people that are actually using the tool. So we'll have a one big question where we actually get to talk to them about the value they're seeing at it. And then we'll talk about AI, right? And there's AI all over this solution. So I know we'll dig in deep on that as well. So Kev, this has been really neat, man. I'm impressed with what I'm seeing. I'm glad we picked Funnel Story to be our first product review. It's going to be kind of hard to beat. We set the bar.
Yeah, we did. It's been fantastic, and I'm excited as well. And man, until we see you again, keep on playing.
Keep on playing.